Going through cancer is among the hardest things a person can experience, which is why a strong support system makes all the difference. And here to discuss from the Arizona Oncology Foundation, our Chief Development Officer, Alba Rojas Sucar, along with Program and Volunteer Coordinator, Wendy Capullo. Thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
So give us a little more insight into what the Arizona Oncology Foundation does.
So Arizona Oncology Foundation started about 8.5 years ago, and it was truly created by some community volunteers and some doctors who understood the need for some extra support for patients that is not in the medical world. I mean, they were looking for support groups and different kind of integrative therapies, and that's how this whole foundation was created. We're unique to where you're not paying for a building, you're not paying for research. All the money that is raised goes directly to programs and services. All we do is provide programs and services to those going through cancer. Wendy can tell you a little bit more about what happens in our resource centers.
At our resource center, we have wigs available for people, scarves, head coverings. We also have bras and prosthesis, which is very difficult for some people in the sense of if they don't have insurance that will cover it, it's extremely expensive. We are able to offer that to our patients for free. We also have integrative therapies like massage and acupuncture that can help with relaxing people. We do manual lymph drainage, which helps tremendously when people are going through treatments. And we also have a lot of support groups. We have nutrition counseling. These are all things that people would normally have to pay for, and they don't have to pay for it at the foundation.
Wow. Well, you know, dealing with cancer is hard enough, and then you add a pandemic on top of it, just makes it that much more complicated. So how has COVID affected you and your clientele?
Well, I can tell you from two different aspects. Fundraising wise, I go out there to raise funds so that we can continue to provide these programs and services to our patients that are truly needed. And COVID just took a hit. It really just affected us in so many different ways. Our normal donors that would have normally given, that would give large grants, everybody closed their portals when COVID happened because they're furloughing their own employees. It has been a really, really hard time. So those donors that did stay with us, I'm forever grateful for, because cancer doesn't go away. You can't quarantine cancer. And I mean, can you imagine getting diagnosed in the middle of a pandemic? Like, life isn't difficult enough for you, then this happened. So Wendy can tell you stories for days.
Yeah, and you know, the people that we see in the resource center, unfortunately, we had to close the resource center for a short time because of COVID. And you think about people that are going through treatments, and here they are having to go into an infusion room for treatment with no one. They're not allowed to have family members. They're not allowed to have anybody. So they're going through this whole thing by themselves. And by us being able to open back up, even with COVID going on, and of course taking precautions, we are there for people. And, you know, they just need someone. They need to see someone. They need to talk to someone, and they need to be pampered because COVID aside, they're still going through cancer. And, you know, we kind of all forgot about that. So COVID took a big toll on them emotionally.
And I mean, physically, they're losing their hair. They're going through chemotherapy in the middle of COVID. Mm-hmm. Our centers are closed, so they can't come to us for wigs and head coverings. So they had to wait for us to reopen just to feel whole again.
Right.
They desperately needed these services. So once we did open, the floodgates open, and boy, were they so happy to have us back. But one of our programs is our transportation program that gets our patients to and from treatment. And I mean, we have a patient who was trying to decide between the same amount of money he would spend on a tank of gas to get to radiation for his 6 days was also the same amount of money it would take to feed his entire family for a week. So he's passing on radiation that could possibly save his life because he wasn't going to choose over feeding his family and his health. So that's where our transportation comes in. I mean, we're offering life-saving programs to those who desperately need it.
We also have some homeless people that take advantage of that, where they would not even be able to get to their treatment. They're living in their car, and our transportation services offer them a way to do that.
Your heart just hurts, hearing about these difficult situations, these difficult stories, which is why we all have to do what we can to do our part. And you have this event coming up that you've actually done a huge amount of research on how to do safely. We just have a little time left, but tell us a little bit about the event and what you've done to keep people safe.
So we have this event coming up. We do one event a year. It's called Festival of Trees and Lights, where we auction off beautifully decorated Christmas trees that come with really phenomenal packages. And all the money raised at this event is all for programs and services for 2021. So it's never been more important to support an event by supporting ours. I did a ridiculous amount of research. I spent 2 months trying to research how to do an event in this pandemic, in this world, as safely as possible. I mean, we have the option to fill a ballroom at 50%, and I'm only doing 25%, 10 tables 10 feet apart. Everyone has to wear masks until they're seated at their own tables. I'm doing private tables, so you don't have to sit with anyone you have not been in your quarantine pod with. We have taken every precaution known to man. And if you don't want to come in person, we have virtual tickets. They're all $100. And when you buy a virtual ticket, we send you a swag bag of wine and goodies to your house. So you can log on and participate and feel like you're there, but still be in your pajamas if you want to. But at least you're still supporting us, and all that money that we're raising is going right to who needs it most, really our patients, who are programs and services. And I just want to mention, you don't have to go to Arizona Oncology to get programs and services through us. We help everyone. It doesn't matter where you get treatment. We're happy to help anyone who needs the help.
Just amazing work you're doing. Thank you so much for everything and for joining me.
Thank you so much. We hope to see you at our event virtually or in person.
Thank you so much. And this year's Festival of Trees and Lights is happening December 5th at 6 p.m. at Ventana Canyon Resort. In-person tickets are very limited, and virtual tickets are also available, which come with food and a wine swag bag. Tickets are $100 per person, and you can find more info at ArizonaOncologyFoundation.org.